It's been a winning weekend so far for Jason Plato. He's driven his Chevrolet to 2 victories and made 2 visits to the top step of the podium. He starts the final race down in 10th place. His championship rival, Matt Neal, starts from the front row of the grid. And let's go down now to that front row of the grid and join Simon Hill.
Yep. James Nash, pole position. Now, this could be a bit of deja vu for you. Obviously, took a win on the road last year, had it taken away. How are you feeling about your chances for this one?
Yeah, as confident as I was last year. We have got the pace when we get it together. Main aim is just to get my head down, drive away and see what I can do. So there's no pressure, you know. I'm as good as anybody else out there, so just go for it and enjoy it.
Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of pressure from the guys immediately behind you that are fighting for the championship. But as you said, you're just in it to try and get the victory for today, not about the championship so much at this stage. And I'm guessing that gives you a slightly different approach of fighting for people.
Exactly, and you know, they've got to bear in mind what they're doing for the championship and things like that. So not expecting anything stupid from them, and it's always clean anyway. So we'll get our head down and just do what we need to do.
It's going to be a good one. Enjoy it. See you later. Now, somebody that we just mentioned there, he's going to have a battle on. He said it's been a difficult circuit for him this weekend. He's the man who came into this weekend leading the championship. And Matt Neal, difficult race one, but obviously this has worked out quite well for you grid-wise. What do you think you can do from here?
The car felt good in race 2, so we've got no weight in. Car feeling right. We've done a couple of tweaks, and I'm looking forward to it. Got to try and stay well in front of those boys behind.
Yeah, it seemed like, we've heard Jason mention a few times about the Fords, about how quick they are, but the Chevy wasn't exactly looking slow earlier, was it?
Yeah, the one I'm watching is Collard right behind me. He's quick off the mark and he's got real good race pace, so I think he's going to be one to watch.
No concerns about what happened at Thruxton earlier between you and Rob?
Water under the bridge, mate. Tomorrow's another day.
Have a good one, cheers. And just behind Matt Neal on the grid is his teammate, Gordon Shedden, a Scotsman who's going to be looking for another win this weekend. It's going to be very, very, very quickly. Gordon, what are you looking for from this one?
You know, a good clean run. Obviously, both of us are up here for Honda, so you know we're struggling a bit in straight line speed to those Fords, and you know the Chevy's going well. But from the front of the grid, no ballast, so everything we've got, elbows out, and try and get some good points in the last race.
Should be good fun to watch. Thanks, Gordon. Have a good one. I'm going up to Ben and Tim in the commentary box.
Thanks very much, Simon. So here we are then, all set for race 3 this afternoon and a top 10 reverse. So that means, of course, that Jason Plato's all the way back in 10th place for this one, having won the first 2 races of the day. It all comes down to the luck of the draw, quite literally, and he's ended up back in 10th. But the pace of that Chevrolet, Tim, really, he's got every chance of fighting his way to the front, hasn't he?
Well, he has. I mean, he's going to be fairly cautious. I think he's certainly got the pace, but he's going to need a bit of luck because it is a very tightly bunched grid, certainly on the first lap. But, this race always throws up a surprise. It could be a belter. The 2 Hondas at the front there, 2nd and 3rd, and with no weight in them at all. You'd have to say on normal form, they ought to romp away with it if they can get past James Nash. But he sounds very confident in the car. He's not going to give it to them. So we could be in for an interesting race. But Jason will be steadily picking his way through. But Matt Neal really has lucked into that front of the grid position, because remember, he didn't even finish the first race, fought his way through just to 10th, and the top 10 were reversed, so he was lucky.
Yeah, he was lucky, but James Nash, as you say, starting on that pole position, 24-year-old who did win on the road, as Simon referred to on the grid walk, but he got excluded for a little bit of contact with Rob Collard. He has been fast all weekend. Nice to see he's carrying the East Air Ambulance colours on the car this weekend as well, so supporting a very valuable charity effort up here in East Anglia. The car's moving away from the grid then, and it's going to be a fascinating battle, this one. James Nash starting from that pole position, Matt Neal on the outside of the front row, and desperate to claw back some points on Jason Plato after Plato's 2 wins here today already. So this is a crucial race, could be one of the decisive races of the championship in many ways. Matt Neal does desperately need to score some points here. Gordon Shedden, his teammate, hopefully there to help him out, Rob Collard and Andrew Jordan, but Andrew Jordan has been pushed off the grid, and so he's not going to be starting where he should be, so that's a little bit disappointing for the man who won race 3 last time out at Croft, and we gather he may not start at all. So here is the grid, Nash and Neal on the front row, Shedden and Collard on the second, so Collard the first of the BMWs. Jordan should be next, but he's not. Then Jackson has a space next to him on row number 3. Behind them we've got Stephen Kane looking to complete that podium record. He's got some work to do from row 4. Onslow Cole is next to him. Then Tom Chilton, so watch the 2 Fords. And then, of course, Jason Plato How far can he move up from 10th on the grid? Pinkney and Martin Johnson are together on row number 6. On row 7 is Andy Neat and Lee Wood. Sean Hollenby and Martin Depper are together on row 8. Keep an eye also on Alex McDowell in the second of the Silverline Chevrolets. He's on row 9 with Arthur Forster. And great work from the crews at sunshine.co.uk, the Tech Speed crew. They've got John George and Paul O'Neill out. And well done to the special tuning guys as well, because they've had to change the gearbox, they've had to repair the car massively. But Tom Bourbon is also out. So all 3 cars that got involved in a shunt on the first lap of race 2, they're all on the grid, Tim.
Yeah, fantastic effort by those guys, and really good to see them out there after what looked like a day-ending crash. But James Nash, as you say, he's won a race before, and I really like the guy's attitude. He sat there on the grid saying, I'm as good as anybody. And if you believe that, you can win. And that's a very positive attitude.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he's got a very solid head, and he's come through Formula Ford. He was runner-up in the British Formula Ford Championship a couple of years ago, and raced in Seat in the Euro Cup. And of course, last year he joined into this British Touring Car Championship at around this time. Matt Neal, there he is, looking on board with Matt. Such a crucial race, this one. Snetterton hasn't always been kind to him. It's a few years since he last won a race here, so can he turn it around in this third race of the day and score some points back on Jason Plato? Interestingly, I noticed looking at the points as well that Ford have taken the lead from Honda in the Manufacturer Constructors Championship as a result of the performances today. They're 4 points ahead now.
Yeah, that's a very coveted title as well.
Yeah, so crucial. It is a crucial race, this, for all involved, both in the drivers and in the manufacturers. The team championship, Honda leading that from Airwaves, but the 2 Airwaves cars are reasonably well up on the grid here, so there's a lot to look for in this third and final race of the day. Round 18 then, about to get underway to bring the day to a conclusion. Let's see whether James Nash can put behind him the disappointment of losing the race win here 12 months ago. He's starting from pole position. Can he convert it into victory with Matt Neal starting alongside him on that front row? The final car has moved into place. We are all set to go racing. Keep an eye on them, see who's going to be into riches first. Engine revs are rising, away we go, bit of creeping there from James Nash, terrible start from Matt Neal, and it's Gordon Shedden who slots into second place immediately. Dreadful getaway by Matt Neal, I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, and Collard's through as well, but we couldn't see the lights from where we were, but it certainly looked as though Nash was just moving an instant. I don't know whether that's, it was a tiny movement, so he may be okay with it, but as you say, Matt Neal not getting off to the best start he wanted.
No, so Matt Neal's back down to 4th already. Keep an eye on everybody else. Alex McDowell in the second of the Silverline Chevys. He's battling through, trying to make progress. He's got Tom Boardman with that repaired car, but up front it is James Nash who leads. Gordon Shedden in the Honda in second place, but under pressure from Rob Collard. Collard moving one way, then the other. Behind them, the 2 Airways cars joining in. Matt Neal having to defend fairly effectively here as they all go through. Look how high James Nash got there.
Yeah, he really clobbered that curve. Hopefully it won't have knocked the tracking out, but I was talking to Mickey Butler from Dunlop. He said they'd had a lot of cut tyres from people jumping the curbs and running out over the exit curbs, so you do need to look after those tyres, and we saw one punch obviously in the first race with Matt Neal as well. So
Matt Neal trying down the inside of Collard, he's going to go for it, and Collard goes straight across to avoid contact, so he comes back out. Jackson's right behind Matt Neal there as well. Collard's rejoined in front of Matt Neal.
Yeah, that was, he'll argue that Matt Neal forced him across the grass, and Matt Neal will say he gained an unfair advantage, but it'll be Bob Kettleborough to decide.
There'll be lots of arguments after this one, and there's the first of the Fords. It's Onslow Cole running in 6th place. Oh, and off the leader, James Nash in big trouble. It's gone into the field of the Exeter Riches. James Nash is off, we have a new leader. It's Gordon Shedden.
Well, what disappointment for James Nash. He was a little bit premature in saying I'm as good as anyone, it turns out, but what a shame for him. He had a good start, he was in the lead, he's just carried too much speed into Richards, the rears let go, and well, he's just a passenger there, and unfortunately it also fishtailed and threw him off again when it came back on.
Fortunately, he didn't actually collect Gordon Shedden in a way, wasn't it? Because
well, that was a worry that he came back across the grid, because that's 115 miles an hour there. Actually just caught the curb on the inside. That may have been enough to destabilise the car and make it flick out, but wow, what a disappointment for James.
That is such a pity, but it means that the race lead now has gone to the Honda Civic of Gordon Shedden. He's still trying to get out of the field, but he can't. There was a bit of, wheel spin, it's stuck, it's grounded, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no way that'll get out of there. I'll be interested to see whether they bring out the safety car. But even if he does get it out, he'll have to clear the front end out of Corn on the Cob, I think. So
It's 1-2 for Honda Racing, as meanwhile Tom Onslow-Cole and Tom Chilton are trying to force their way through. Jackson is there, one they're trying to pass in the airways car. Look how he's using the curb on the inside. And Jackson ran a bit wide, kicked up the dust. Stays in front of those two Fords, the two Team Aon cars.
Yeah, the yellow flag actually is being waved between that first and second corner, so there is allowed to pass into the first one, but not into the second corner at the moment.
Here comes Onslow-Cole with a great draft on Matt Jackson. He's using that LPG turbo power, and he drafts past, and he's into position, into fourth place, but will he hold it? Oh, they make a bit of contact, bit of rubbing. Oh, more contact, off goes Onslow-Cole. I think Chilton went through, rear door opens up. He's not getting out just yet, but that was a great shame.
Well, that's ironic because it was Onslow-Cole that ran into Collard earlier and opened his door. Now his has been opened.
Oh, what a pity. Jackson and Onslow-Cole. Meanwhile, top three have made a bit of a break here. Tom Chilton's gained advantage, and it is Plato behind him, by the way.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is really just a case of 2 into 1 won't go. They're coming round that corner. Neither wants to give in. And, well, here we are on board with Onslow-Cole. You can't see Jackson now. He's past him, but Jackson is still trying to fight the corner out with him.
Yeah, and they just went in side by side, and there you can see a good view of it. Neither wanted to give it up, did they?
No, neither wanted to give up. You can get two cars around there, but it's very iffy because the cars are braking and cornering at the same time.
So Gordon Shedden leads, Matt Neal is in second, Rob Collard is there in third in the BMW, the white car with the blue flashes, looking very strong in third, and we know the BMW gets faster and faster relatively, but behind them it's Tom Chilton in the fast Ford, and then of course Jason Plato. Here comes Collard having a little look, not able to do it there, but Plato is now in 5th place.
Oh, did you see the slide there that Matt Neal was having? I mean, really sliding that car on the brakes into that corner.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from the former double champion Matt Neal, who wants to reclaim the championship lead, but with Plato going well in this race, that could be a tall order. Looking back at Collard, but in the distant background, as it looks like, it's Chilton versus Plato, and then Stephen Kane joining into that. So he's got to be careful to see how they close that gap up. Across the line they come. They're going on to complete lap 3 then, and on to lap 4 out of 18. Plenty of time to go here in the third race of the day.
Yeah, long race. No sign of the safety car for James Nash, so that's going to be covered, I guess, by a yellow flag into turn 2. We'll have to see that. Yeah, I mean, Collard actually... He could make some headway here because although he hasn't been quick all weekend, in the last race here with a sniff of victory, he could go well. And he's also, I just found out, got the new plenum chamber on that car from the World Touring Car Championship that Colin Turkington's been running.
Now further back, John George been having a good race, but he's just been passed, I think. Oh no, he's still battling with McDowell actually. This is for 13th place. Still racing with him to try and get the place back again. Meanwhile, a little attack going on here as Jackson tries to recover from that earlier incident. He's trying to get past Andy Neat. Neat just about fending him off for the moment.
Yeah, Andy Neat positioning the car nicely there, but good run through the bomb hole there for Matt Jackson. Will he get up the inside? Yeah, Neat's seen him coming and gives him room.
7th place, that is, for Matt Jackson, so that's useful points regained again after the incident with Tom Onslow-Cole. Onslow-Cole, by the way, is still running, but he's still all the way down in 17th. Slide out of the Russell left-hander there for Matt Jackson. But up front, it's Gordon Shedden leading. Matt Neal in 2nd place, but not far behind them is Rob Collard. Then Chilton, then Plato. There he is in the Silver Line car. But right behind Plato, it's Stephen Kane. Not much to choose between them either. And that's another BMW that might come on strong.
Yeah, Plato reasonably cautious at this stage. That's inside the Team Dynamics garage. Eddie Hinckley with his head in his hands at the moment. I'm not sure why. Onslow-Cole in.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? After that contact that was made, he has been brought in, whether it's just something to do with that door.
It'll be to tape up that door, I'm sure. Has told him he's got to tape it up. So all the teams have a strip of tape ready, taped to the garage, a big pad of it, so he can use it quickly in a situation like that. But all he can hope for now is a safety car to close the field up again.
Yeah, that would be nice for him. Matt Jackson's got fastest lap in this race at a 1:12.5. But up front, it's still Gordon Shedden who leads by 1.2 seconds over his teammate Matt Neal. And right now, Matt Neal's just still under a lot of pressure from Rob Collard. Certainly, Honda cannot afford to sort of swap each other around and go for the extra point like they did at Croft, because they've got a lot more opposition right here. And they're going to be very cautious not to let one of them through. Chilton, meanwhile, protecting from Plato, and you're on board with Plato here.
Yeah, the problem Plato's got now is that he can't really get near the Ford on the straights because they're so quick, but he's got Stephen Kane giving him a lot of hassle up behind, so it's going to be tough for him.
Yeah, it is going to be tricky, this, and Jason Plato knows that this race weekend already has been incredibly positive for him. The last few years, Jason's always had one bad race here for whatever reason. Last year he went for it a bit too hard in the first race, went out of the race, and he regretted that, I remember, later on in the season when we got to the end of the championship. I think that will still be ticking away in his brain this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, he had the attitude at this stage last year that, you know, he could attack for everything because he was behind in the points, and latterly when the car came on strong, he perhaps regretted that decision, but he's obviously in a much better position championship-wise this year, and I'm sure he'll be a bit more cautious.
Yeah, I think he will be too. I mean, if he finishes where he is now, 5th in this race, 2 wins and a 5th would still be a major result this weekend. Matt Neal's still here ahead of him. He's up in 2nd with Collard chasing him down, and Collard's had a real up and down season. He's shown tremendous pace on a number of occasions, but it's really struggled to string the results together in a sort of solid point scoring way.
Yeah, I think it is difficult for the BMWs this year. I think the front-wheel drive cars have really come into their own. The BMW, you know, it's got to work the tyre in a different way, and sometimes the conditions suit it and sometimes it don't.
That's right. So Rob Collard has been struggling to string it together, but he is in a very good 3rd place here, still chasing after Matt Neal, as you can see, and closes up nicely under braking. But of course on the power there's not too much to choose between the Honda and the BMW, and these two just still keeping a decent distance over Tom Chilton in 4th and Jason Plato in 5th. Gordon Shedden is taking full advantage of all this after those events of Croft last time out. He's really upped his sort of championship challenge, and this is a good opportunity for him here. Collard getting as close as ever to the back of Matt Neal, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and Matt Neal's getting a lot of talk from the pits, in fact, from his father, telling exactly what Collard is up to behind him. So some drivers like this, some don't, but Matt obviously likes the feedback. I think I'd find it distracting, but that's personal choice.
Well, he's working quite hard at the moment, but so far so good. Keeping it clean, pops it over the curb. Behind them, Chilton, Plato, and then it's Stephen Kane. Let's just take a look at Paul O'Neill going down the inside of Tom Boardman. These guys, of course, the cars had contact in a slightly different way in the previous race, but he does make it through, and that puts him into 11th position.
Yeah, a little lunge down the inside into Sear, and he got through, but contact was made. There's Jackson still fighting his way back.
Yeah, he's in 7th place. And we've got a little bit of radio from Matt Neal's car. Let's listen into what's been going on in that car.
If the camera's on me, you're going to have to move my eyes and ears to the end of the straight. Collard's getting a good run, and I've lost my left mirror, so I can't see him coming down the inside. You're going to have to...
He's saying he's lost his mirror on the left-hand side. You can see it's been deformed there. So what he's saying is you need to tell me if he's coming down the inside. He's coming down the right-hand side, Matt.
Oh, he just gets across in front of him. And his dad is spotting for him, isn't he? So his dad is telling him.
His dad is telling him if Collard is lunging down the left-hand side where he can't see in the mirror.
Well, this is good family teamwork going on, but Matt Neal hasn't got a clue what's happening on that left-hand side, but Collard almost got down on the right-hand side. Didn't happen for him, so we're getting to half distance now. There is Dad on the right, busy talking his son through this race and telling him where his nearest rival is.
Yeah, meanwhile, Gordon Shedden's marching serenely on at the front.
He is.
He can just concentrate on his lap times, concentrate on his lines. It's just what he wants, but this is certainly the battle for the race at the moment.
Yeah, this is a good one for 2nd place, and Matt Neal desperate for the points. And they've got a little more battling going on here as Paul O'Neill trying to pick up another place. He's got behind Lee Wood, another Honda Integra, identical car, but he's got a chance to get the inside line here. He's going to try and outbrake him down the inside, and that is a good, clean manoeuvre, and Lee Wood just has to give him space. So next he goes chasing after Dave Pickney, who's currently running in 9th place. Look at Collard again, so close to the back of Matt Neal.
It's a really exciting battle with two very experienced touring car drivers, and clean as a whistle so far.
They have their history though, these two, don't they?
They do, and it's probably Rob that feels that he owes Matt one more than anything else. So if it comes right down to it, maybe there'll be a little tap.
Yeah, there was that incident at Thruxton earlier this year where Rob was leading and he got the tap from Matt Neal, and that blew his race. But let's see what happens. Still a little way to go in this one. We're coming across the line. Gordon Shedden with a 1.4 second advantage over Matt Neal. 10 laps completed, on to lap 11 out of 18. And Collard still right in the mirrors that we know Matt can't see out of terribly well as he comes through Riches.
Yeah, Yes, both cars very equal there, and clearly there is no yellow flag into Sia, the second corner, because we've seen a couple of passes there, so that's good. He can race all the way around the circuit.
Doesn't seem to be a lot of difference between Tom Chilton, Jason Plato and Stephen Kane behind. Paul O'Neill still battling with Lee Wood, who he passed last time around, so he's sort of got caught again by that group. And Tom Boardman trying to get past Lee as well. Behind them we've got the other Chevy of Alex McDowell.
Yeah, and Alex has caught up to the back of them. I'm surprised to see Paul O'Neill so close to them there. I thought he'd have pulled away more in that lap than been on the back of Pinckney, so maybe he had a little moment somewhere.
Yeah, it does imply that, doesn't it? Pinckney, you can just see coming into shot now with that Vauxhall. There he is, the black car, of course, with the pink flashes on it. Paul O'Neill has eased away again from the group. Oh, he just locked up a bit there and went a bit deep into the exit.
Paul was too late on the brakes and missed the inside left-hand apex there, so he's pushing really hard.
Trying very hard to close that gap to Pinckney up ahead of him as they come through Coram now. This is where the Integra is so well balanced. It's still a great car. It's been in the British Touring Cars Championship for a long time. The Seat, of course, is a pretty trusty member of British Touring Cars too, but there you are. O'Neill has caught Pinckney now. He is right behind him.
Yeah, and he's caught him a lot on this lap, even with that error at the S's, so he's obviously got good pace. But we know Pinckney, who's got a new engine in that car, new NGT spec engine, has been very quick on the straights this weekend, so it's going to be tough to pass.
Yeah, just to remind you, this car running the new engine that will be part and parcel of British Touring Cars for the next few years. It's in its development phases still at the moment, but it won last time out in the hands of Andrew Jordan. Oh, a bit of a big slide from Pinckney. This could give Paul O'Neill a big chance. David, where are you going?
Yeah, well, that's made it easy for Paul, because he would have been quick on that straight. All David needed to concentrate on was a good exit, and he'd have probably held him off down the straight, but he blew it in the corner. Too
busy thinking about mowing the lawn on the Sunday rather than driving his race car, I think. Behind him, he's still got Lee Wood. And then behind him, he's still got Tom Boardman joining in, but Paul O'Neill definitely making good progress. The next one he's got to chase after now is Andy Neate, who's in 8th place.
Yeah, very good progress. And Paul is always at his best when he's fired up and given a challenge, isn't he? And none like coming from the back in the last race.
Yeah, definitely. Now, let's look at Plato. Under attack from Stephen Kane. Come on, Stephen, if you're going to keep your record of finishing on the podium every time this year, you're going to have to pull off a bit of a miracle here, because you're currently down in 6th place.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to really depend on a bit of tyre performance. Oh, lock up there from Stephen Kane just brings him right onto the back of Plato, and Plato won't like this hassle from behind, but he just can't seem to get on terms with the Ford in front of him. But Mickey Butler from Dunlop was saying they've been working hard with the Team Aon to get the right setup for that car, because it is hard on its tyres, and we'll see how that develops in the latter half of the race.
They've certainly been showing better sort of race pace. Oh, a big slide again. It just shows you how hard they're trying.
Yeah, you have to get the brake balance right as well on the car, because as the race goes on, the tyres wear, you need to move the brake balance accordingly, because you're still braking all the way around that left-hand bend, and clearly that was a little bit of a lock-up from the rear.
Look how Kane turned in earlier to Coram, really, than Jason Plato. Slightly different lines on the rear-wheel drive BMW, perhaps, to the Chevy ahead. Nice to get the exit here.
Yeah, the front-wheel drive cars tending to turn in a little bit later as the race goes on, so that they can straighten the exit and wind some lock off on the exit, which is what really damages the car.
On to lap 14 out of 18 now, and Shedden is still leading this race by 1.7 seconds, more or less. Still Jason Plato fending off Stephen Kane here for 5th position, and Plato will surely be pretty satisfied with this, even if he doesn't get past that Ford ahead of him of Tom Chilton. Jackson is still in 7th, Neate is in 8th, O'Neill 9th, Pinckney in 10th, Boardman followed by George, Wood and McDowell, who's still down in 14th place. There's your leader.
Yeah, the gap at the front staying the same, and the battle's still raging between Matt Neal and Rob Collard.
Yeah, still no way for Collard to look at that. Even Plato was sliding that time. We haven't seen him do that today very much.
Well, it's hottest time of the day, and it's the last race, so tyres really being worked very hard, and testament to the excellent product that Dunlop have provided, really, that the tyre works so well. It's Lee Wood off.
Yeah, from 13th place. That's disappointing. I wonder what's happened there. And into the pits, Onslow Cole again. He's been in and gone out and been in again, and it's all gone a bit horribly wrong for Tom Onslow Cole after that contact with Matt Jackson on the early stages.
Yeah, new tyres going on the front there. Not quite sure why, unless he's destroyed the previous set, but a little bit strange. Obviously going out to try and just get some team or manufacturer points.
Yeah, get the fastest lap as possible, I suppose, but yellow flags up there at Sia corner. That's for Lee Wood, who's It's now being pushed away, but does that give Collard a good run out of Sear? How did that look? Do we think he's got enough?
It looked good, but and I mean, this is one of the problems with the Honda. It is a hatchback, so it's not as aerodynamically efficient on a long straight, and this is one of the longest straights in the country.
But it's got a great engine. It has got a good engine still, hasn't it?
It has got a good engine, but I was, and Steve Neal, yes, telling him that he's looking up the left-hand side, but Matt defends and holds up, gets a good exit, and through the bomb hole, Matt holds a good line there and just ekes out enough of a gap.
Again, it's this wonderful quality driving we're seeing from both of these guys, and it might not be changing position much, but this is delightful to watch as Matt Neal just does everything he can to keep the pace, keep that second position, which is so crucial in terms of championship points. And Rob Collard just trying to work out if there's anywhere that he can actually put that nose of the BMW alongside the Honda.
Yeah, I really think the only way he's going to do it is going to be at the end of that main straight, if Matt makes a slight mistake in the corner.
Yeah, looking back from Jason Plato at Stephen Kane immediately behind. Again, a really sharp turn in, flicks it into Riches. This is the corner where James Nash went off earlier on in this race when he was leading. So unfortunately that car's still out there in the field. But Stephen Kane still trying to close this gap to Jason Plato. Nothing there.
Yeah, I think that camera angle makes it look like Jason's missing the apex all the time, but I think it's just the camera angle.
Right, yeah, it's a slightly odd angle just over the rear boot lid. Collard again having a little think about getting past Matt Neal ahead of them. But Stephen Kane not quite as close to the boot lid of Jason Plato's Chevrolet this time as he has been on 1 or 2 laps. Still important points for the Airwaves cars here, so he's still going to be scoring well for the team. Chilton's broken away a little bit from Plato, hasn't he, over the last lap?
Yeah, it's been a good drive from Chilton. He's kept the car very tidy. He hasn't worked his tyres too hard. He's driven very well.
Yeah, no, it's good effort. And it does look as though they have made that Ford better over the race distance. They were, as you say, putting a lot of effort into that, and that will give them a great encouragement. We know how fast it can be over a single lap. But up front at the moment, Gordon Shedden, with 2 laps to go, looks as though he's got this one pretty comfortably. His teammate Matt Neal still following. Collard in 3rd place, then Chilton, Plato and Kane. Jackson still in a lonely 7th place. There's been no change further back at the moment, by the way, between Andy Neate and Paul O'Neill, so they're still running in 8th and 9th as Plato does get a bit closer now to back at Chilton.
Chilton was noticeably slow on the apex there, wasn't he? He was really stopping the car and concentrating on a good exit.
Yeah, there we could just see Paul O'Neill flashing through the shot, chasing now Andy Neate for everything that he's worth and having a little look at the inside, then moves back to the outside. Now he'll try and get a good exit off the corner, and he really uses the curb to do that, gets alongside the BMW. Andy Neate tries to squeeze back across. He'll have to give Paul O'Neill just enough space on the outside. This is going to be a real duel into the left-hander.
This is a braking duel. Who's got the bravest? It should be Paul O'Neill. He's coming in on the cleaner, wider line. Can he do it? Oh, Andy Neate right on the limit, pushes him wide, but Neil stops. Now, will Pickney get past both of them?
Oh, good run from Pickney. He's got past one of them, but actually Paul O'Neill played that brilliantly. He just got the car turned in, right amount of momentum, and he has taken the place. So that puts Paul O'Neill into 8th position.
Yeah, great bit of driving, great bit of driving. Just managed to stop the car and come off the brakes enough to let the car turn.
Yeah, really good. And look at Collard still hunting around. It's the final lap. Collard still hasn't found a way past Matt Neal. Can he do anything in the last couple of corners? A bit wider there for Matt Neal than he has been.
It wasn't the best exit, was it? But is it enough to give Collard a sniff?
Well, you don't know whether it's going to make a change or not.
Matt's moving over and defending. He's defending. He's gone into the middle of the road. Now he's come back a bit. Will Collard really lunge?
Oh, not quite, not quite. Now he's going to try and come back. Matt Neal's got sideways. Collard's got the inside line. He has got into 2nd place.
That was a touch from Collard. It was the tiniest touch, just as they came around that left, enough to just tiptoe Matt into a slight spin because the car's so on the edge of adhesion there. Just the tiniest little bit of contact.
Wow, but it's Gordon Shedden who's going to come through and take victory. He won 2 races last time out at Croft, and he's going to come through and take victory again here this weekend. A superb effort he won, but here back in 2007 as well. 2nd place goes to Collard, 3rd to Matt Neal, 4th Chilton, 5th Plato, 6th Stephen Kane. Finally, poor Stephen Kane's record of podium every time he's broken. Still had a good weekend, but Gordon Shedden, that was a super drive from the Scot, who is definitely in this championship hunt.
No question, he's right in there, and a very good result for him. He's really had good pace all weekend, and perhaps better than Matt Neal, you'd say, overall. But great race between Collard and Matt Neal, and Collard will feel justified in there's a little bit of aggression. We saw it coming. Matt Neal had a bad exit from the corner before.
Yeah, that's right. You wonder what the relationship will be like, but Collard has had his own taste of some Matt Neal medicine in the past. Let's take a look at it, Tim.
This is from onboard Matt Neal, looking back. They're braking round, they're braking all the time. Their foot never comes off the brake and then just tap there. And that was enough. That was enough.
Just makes Matt Neal run wide, gets back on again, kicks up all the dust, but by then, of course, Collard's got that inside line. Another look at it here. Oh, there was the touch. I'll tell you what, he hit that curve pretty hard, didn't he?
He did. He was so determined to turn into the corner, but I mean, you know, that's give and take in touring cars, isn't it?
So, that interesting stuff. Let's see if we can get a quick word with Matt. Let's see what he has to say about it. Matt, this is Ben in the commentary box, so give us your version of that last lap. We'll try again, didn't seem to go through. Hey Matt, this is Ben in the commentary box. Just give us your version of that last lap.
The problem is it just pulls 4 car lengths on me. You know,
I think we're getting a bit of Plato radio there instead, so sorry about that, everybody. But we were going to try and talk to Matt Neal. I'm sure we will hear from him at any moment. And yeah, there will be some interesting phrases
but
coming.
A good result for Honda Racing, though.
He was, yeah, apparently, yeah, let's listen to a little bit of radio. He's been talking to his father about it. Let's see if we can just listen in to what he's been saying. This was a moment ago.
Was the touch.
What, he hit that curve pretty hard.
Sorry, Danny,
He
you
was
took me
so
square
determined
at
to
the
turn into the corner, but I mean, you know, that's...
Just trying to listen in to that.
Well, all I got was he hit me
Yeah.
up the behind, squarely at the S's. Well, we saw that, so...
Yeah, that's pretty clearly what
yeah.
happened. So, well, dramas to the last lap as ever in British touring cars. And Gordon Shedden came home with the win from Rob Collard in second place, Matt Neal in third, then Tom Chilton, Jason Plato and Stephen Kane. Matt Jackson survived that earlier incident with Onslow Cole to finish 7th. O'Neill fought his way to 8th in a hastily repaired sunshine.co.uk car. David Pinkney was 9th and Andy Neate held on for 10th. 11th was Tom Boardman and John George finished in 12th, so good for those teams to have their cars make the finish after the problems earlier. Alex McDowell finished 13th, Arthur Forster ahead of Sean Hollenby, and then poor Tom Onslow Cole, who was involved in that incident. Others in trouble were Lee Wood, Martin Depper, James Nash, early leader, and Andrew Jordan, who never made the start. So, in terms of the standings, Matt Neal led the championship coming into this event at Snetterton, but now Jason Plato leads with a 20-point advantage. It's been a great weekend. But look at Gordon Shedden. He is now only 4 points behind his teammate. And Honda should, with that result, I think maybe just have reclaimed the manufacturer's lead from Ford. It's going to be an enticing tussle between them. Onslow Cole next up, and then Stephen Kane, Matt Jackson, Chilton 7th, Collard 8th in the points, O'Neill 9th, and Andrew Jordan holding on to a top 10 position. So there we are.
So Team Dynamics Honda wrap up their weekend with victory for Gordon Shedden in the final touring car race of the day. But there is drama on the final lap with Rob Collard snatching second place from Shedden's teammate Matt Neal. We'll be hearing all about that when we come back after the break. We're back at Snetterton and it's all drama in the final touring car race of the day. Pole sitter James Nash gets it all wrong and ends up in the field. Rob Collard and Matt Neal tangle on the final lap. And that leaves the way clear for celebrations for Gordon Shedden as he takes victory for Team Dynamics Honda. But Jason Plato's the big winner here today. He now leads the championship standings. Matt Neal is relegated to second place with 131 points. Teammate Gordon Shedden is third with 127. Tom Onslow Cole is on 113 with Stephen Kane on 109 and Matt Jackson on 101. In seventh place, it's Tom Chilton. Honda Racing lead the team standings. They're on 241 points. Second place, it's Airwaves BMW in 208, and Team Aon are on 193 with Silverline Chevrolet on 175. And manufacturers, well, it's Honda Dynamics out on front on 321 points. Arena Ford are second with 313, and Chevrolet RML in third with 273. Let's go over to Simon now. He's with the top 3 finishers.
Yep, Gordon Shedden sorry to interrupt you chatting with Rob there, Gordon. That was an awesome performance. That looked, we were chatting a moment ago, like qualifying, but from the beginning to the end of the race in terms of your pace.
Yeah, we've worked so hard this weekend to try and get this little Honda Civic on the pace, and theoretically it wasn't going to be our strongest track. Given the speed of the Fords and things, but we've worked so hard. We've got a 1-3 for the team, brilliant for everyone at Team Honda. The guys have just done an amazing job. So yeah, I think I had up until about 3 laps to go, I was still in the 12s, and that's testament to the work all the boys have put in.
Yeah, it did definitely look like you had that kind of pace all the way through. It didn't drop away. In fact, both yourselves and Matt were running at a similar sort of pace. But obviously, you must have thought it was Christmas when you saw James Nash disappearing away.
I did. He made a good start. I made a cracking start. Obviously, got up into second, and all the way through the first lap, James was completely sideways on the lock stop, and I thought, I might have a little chance here. But he did it all himself at the first corner, lost the rear, and thank God he didn't spear me when he came back onto the track. Managed to get my head down and get out of there.
Yeah, it was pretty close, but most importantly as well, you come away now only 4 points behind your teammate in the championship.
It's good that we got a result from a team's point of view. It's brilliant for me personally, but awesome. It's really good for Matt as well. We need to obviously to chase down Jason, and if we'd have had only scored a couple of points between us in race 3, that would have put a whole different slant on the championship. But there's plenty of racing to happen yet.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Thanks very much, Gordon. Great job today. Let's grab a word with Rob Collard. Absolutely awesome last lap. Talk us through the move on Matt Neal.
Well, I got boxed up behind Matt at the start of the race, and Matt had good speed for the first 5 or 6 laps, and then he just started dropping off, and Gordon was getting away and I was getting frustrated, but I thought I'd just sit and just see if I can pressure Matt into a mistake, but he's too much of an old hand really. He's not going to make mistakes. And last lap, a little bit optimistic, but it was touring cars at the end of the day.
So you're happy it was a nice sort of fair move from your point of view?
Well, the only thing the point I want to make out is that he finished the race and he didn't lose any positions, but not unlike the incident at Thruxton. Yeah. So I'd like to think Matt respects me for that, and I've got a lot of respect for Matt.
It was good stuff to watch. It was thoroughly entertaining. A brilliant job, Rob. I want to have a quick word with Matt and see his thoughts on it. We heard some of the radio chat you were having with the team saying that your mirror had been knocked in, and when you're getting some spotting down your left-hand side, but that's quite helpful.
Not really. He was fast, and he was faster than me, and the Honda Civic had got its plus points. We were really good around the twisty bits, which is where we are always good. But he just in the drafting, I felt like I was back in a one-mate championship at the end, just trying to break the draft all the way down the straight. But shame, it would have been lovely for a 1-2, but it's fantastic for the team that Flash gets there, and we get 2 podiums at the end of the day, but a win more importantly.
Yeah, the team's championship looking very good, a nice solid lead. I think it's about 30-something points over Airways BMW, so I'm sure that's equally as important. But you know how to win championships. You've done this before. How's it feeling that the second half of the year is going to unfold?
Yeah, not good. I thought I was looking for a win in this one, but I had 2 cracking starts when I'm back with the dead men in the first 2 races, and then the one time I got a chance of a win, I do a start from hell. So I've only got myself to blame on that one. The car was awesome, right, absolutely awesome throughout. We made some tweaks on the 3rd race. We got it absolutely perfect. All we just needed was a little bit more at the end of the straights.
And the lap times look very similar between you and Gordon, sort of 12s most of the time. So it must have been encouraging with the pace, especially not having had the test here that the other teams did in the summer break.
Well, I knew Rob. He'd done some race simulations in free practice, and they just blew everyone else away. So I knew he'd had 2 crap races and he was light. So he was going to be our problem one, and he was my problem one in the end of the day. But it's great that Flash got it.
And one very, very quick question: that move on the last lap, do you think that was fair?
Well, I've probably done worse in my time, but it was square in the back, which is not normally liked. But yeah, racing's racing, isn't it?
We've all seen it, haven't we? Both sides before. Well done, Matt. Great performance today. Let's go back to Louise.
Well, the touring cars may have parked up for the day, but there's still racing to come from here at Snetterton. We'll be out on track with the ever-entertaining Renault Clios in just a few minutes.